How y'all doing? I'm Joshua Wiley, and this video right here is dealing with positivity in the Christian. I met, I posted recently a video about with Tyrese Gibson, where he's talking about all the negativity that's in social media, the news, things of that nature, and how, especially with the news, how that's all they keep feeding you with something negative. And first off, let me say, and my apologies for those, I rushed and uploaded it without putting explicit, beware explicit content, before the video. I'm sorry for those who were offended, and things of that nature. Sometimes I'm so busy, I move and without thinking really, but lesson learned. But anyway, so it shocked me, certain responses I got from the video, and usually I just leave stuff alone and let it go, but it wouldn't leave me alone, and I got to thinking even more and more how it is a problem nowadays. Even if you're not Seventh-day Adventist like I am, the North American Conference is one of the smallest conferences in the whole church and the whole body of believers. But this is for a reason. I've been, in the past 3 months, I've probably been to 6 or 7 different churches, including my own where I'm an elder at, but not just to go, but several churches I go to speak at and things of that nature. Most of them was where I go for speaking engagements, and sometimes I do like to visit brothers and sisters in the church. If I'm in another city or state, I'll visit a different church. But I see it more and more and more, the negative Christian. And by some of the responses that I got, or the comments that I got on the video, I saw that, wow, it is a problem. And I don't think certain Christians really know how to I don't think they see it, because we're raised to think a certain way, or our own guilt and shame can make us into a negative Christian, and we really don't realize it. But just having somebody commented, nothing positive, well, positivity really doesn't make a difference without Jesus. And I had to say that I disagree. Of course, only Christ is the way to true happiness and to soul salvation. So don't get me wrong. Jesus is the only way to true soul salvation, but he even tells us to think on things that are joyful, that are true. He goes down the whole list. Basically what Paul was saying when he was telling us to keep your mind on things that are joyful and true and upbeat and uplifting, what he's basically was saying was, you got to stay positive, and I don't think people really understand the true meaning of positivity and what actually Tyrese was saying. Because, like, okay, say the person who said, if you say positivity won't change a thing without Jesus. I grew up in the slums. I won't get into it. Many of us grew up there. I'm not the only one. Millions of us. But I'm gonna tell you like this: you take a child who grew up in a projects. Let's say, let me paint this picture that I see too often. You take a child who grew up where they have a mom or a dad, but the mom or dad are drug addicts. They're drunks. All the money goes to their bad habit. They really have no furniture in the house. The kid rarely gets any clothes. No positivity comes from this parent. I mean, the kid really has no clothes, no furniture, nothing to feel good about. I've been there. I remember I made a dresser out of cardboard because I wanted a dresser like how I saw some of my other friends when I went to their houses had. So I took a couple cardboard boxes and made me a fancy kind of dresser, and I had it for about 7 months, y'all. It was tight. But beloved, you take a child in this situation, really has no furniture, no new clothes, nothing to feel good about themselves, nothing. Their parents, they see their parents drunk or high all the time. The parents are violent to them, beat on them, curse at them, all of these things. And you tell me that you take that child in that situation, and you tell that child, and you're telling me that if that child was in a environment to where the parents were positive, giving him positive feedback, giving him or her positive feedback every day about who they are, uplifting them. He had parents who bought clothes and food and weren't drug addicts and wasn't on dope and things of that nature. You telling me that there wouldn't be a change? You telling me that things wouldn't change? You know, for the Bible said, you know, the thought that really hit me, the Bible said, I saw my little ones walk by carrying groceries. I was gonna film them. But you know, the word says, by beholding we become changed. By beholding we become changed. I know you see the car in the background, they taking groceries in. So if by beholding we become changed, because it's sort of what Tyrese was getting at, if the news media and everybody only showing negativity, then what is the Bible telling us that our mind will change to? It's going to be negative. If I only look at someone in a negative eye all the time, that's all I'm going to see in that person is negativity. But if I'm dwelling on positive things, beautiful things, life, just grateful to be here, I'm keeping my spirits up, staying positive, it's a big difference. It's a big difference. And that's what God was talking about when he said, by beholding we become changed. I wasn't going to get him, but I want to get him. He tried to run. Look, I'm carrying the water. But I had to really say something, because I've met too many negative Christians who they have Christ, they have Jesus, or they believe they have Jesus, and they're negative though. You know, they're pessimistic. You know, certain outcomes and things they already feel like, I already know how that's gonna go, and things that they're not positive at all. Or can a Christian, I want you to really see it, can a Christian, if he hears someone at least trying to be positive and say, look man, this is going on right here, this is going on right here, can we be negative about that, or should we be like, man, you right? You know what I'm saying? You're right. You know, I used the analogy, me and my pastor was talking about this subject, and I used the analogy, and he totally agrees with me, but I used the analogy of you take, say you come across a neighborhood or a group of people who don't want to hear about Jesus at that moment. You know, they don't want to hear about Christ. So you telling me that there's nothing positive that I can talk to them about? I can't help that woman. I still can't help that woman stop smoking. You tell me if she starts to live positive, she can't make a change in her life? We're wrong, beloved. And that's the reason why many people can't bring people to the church, because we have this idea that okay, if I'm not beating them in the head with Christ, then a change can't be made in their life. But I'm here to tell you, when we look at Jesus, who is our blueprint, let me gather all this in, because I was gonna write it out. I said, nah, but let me gather all this in. When I look at Jesus, and I believe it was Luke, either 4 or 5, after the incident where Mary and Joseph lose him, it's right at the end of that chapter, and it's either Luke 4 or Mark 4, but it's right towards the end of that chapter. It says, and Jesus gained favor with God and men. Now this is before his ministry, so the word is telling us he gained favor with men. Jesus wasn't that let me know a lot. I know it may seem small to some of y'all, but that let me know a lot, that Christ wasn't just some stuck-up Christian. Think about it. How he gonna tell them about Jesus when he hadn't even started his ministry yet? But it said he gained favor amongst men. I could see Christ being a positive individual, and dwelling on positive things. If I had a friend of mine who just got out the penitentiary the other day, and he gave me a call just to say what's up, just to talk. And I realized He just wanted to hear something positive. Did I have to beat him in the head with the Bible? No, because many times that push people away from God. If you can't, people aren't foolish at all. They know if you, some Christians come at them like, they hit people with the word so much that they end up, because they get tired of getting hit, that they end up running away from the word. And I found out that the key to witnessing and saving souls is true friendship. True friend. But can you be a true friend if you're negative? No, you got to be positive. If I can't show my brothers and sisters how to focus on positive things, then, or if I think, hey, stop smoking, that ain't gonna change nothing in your life. Stopping drinking and doing drugs, that ain't gonna change nothing in your life. Being positive, hanging around positive-minded people who are actually searching for good jobs and want degrees and things, that ain't gonna change nothing in your life. If I actually thought like this, then trust me, beloved, I wouldn't be able to bring anyone in the church. Let me shut my door real quick. I wouldn't be able to bring anyone in the church. And so I had to make a video to say something, because it wasn't, being positive is actually what breaks the ground of the heart to receive Christ. You say, Jess, what do you mean? Well, we know that the word righteous, or to live righteous, means right living. Living right. Being positive. So if I could help someone, as a true friend should, if I can help someone to start focusing on more positive things and living right, doing the right thing, that actually makes that person more open to accept Christ, because their mind isn't on so much evil and negativity. So for me to say, being positive or living positive or dwelling on positivity ain't gonna change nothing, please go tell it. Like I stressed again, tell it to the little child who grows up in an alcoholic home where the dad, he watches his dad abuse his mom, and vice versa. Watches the mom, takes abuse from the mom, gets hit, slapped, punched in the mouth, But then he sees other parents that are actually positive. Let's say parents that don't even go to church, but they're positive. They're positive. They don't have so much evil in their home. I'm not saying that, they'll be saved. Nah, only Christ can save us, beloved. But what I'm saying is, how much of a positive Christian are you? Because just because you believe in Jesus won't make you automatically a positive individual. Like I say, I've met too many Christians who are very negative. And who actually believe, okay, well, if you don't believe what I believe, they stop being a friend to the person. Now, when they think they're gonna win the person over like a convert, oh shoot, they the best friend in the world to that person. But when that person say, nah, I'm not gonna be an Adventist, I'm gonna keep going to the Pentecostal or Baptist church, I'm gonna keep being a charismatic, then you know what? Then the phone call stop, things of that nature. I'm like, what? I can't be a positive? You can't be a positive influence or show people how to live positive in your life, in their life? That actually breaks the ground for the Holy Spirit and for Christ. Beloved, there's something inside of us that when you're living right and you're focusing on positive things, that the mind is actually more open to God than it is evil things. And that is why I stress this verse. If thinking on positivity and positive things won't change anything, if it won't change anything, then why did Paul say, by beholding we become changed? So the more positive things that I behold and place in front of my eyes, the better person I become. And we miss the boat so many times by being so negative. That's why it's hard for so many Christians to bring their personal friends and family to the church. I'm telling you, beloved, if you got friends and family who won't come to church with you, you need to check and see if you're a negative Christian or not. Because, beloved, it's so easy for me to get my friends and family to come to church with me. It is. Because we try to stay positive in every. My brother who called me this morning. He called me this morning, you know, and they used to refer. I did time over this brother. I'm talking about one of my close brothers. I did time over this brother growing up, and nobody ever thought me and him would get right as far as like in our life wise of being positive. We were so negative with everything. I mean, just from everything. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna get into too much, but let me just say, I remember when he got out of prison. I've been out a while, you know, and we still wilded out for several years once we both got out, you know, and I remember I made a change. I said, okay, I gotta get back into the church. And just from me and him conversating and talking, and me still being a positive influence in his life, not beating him in the head with the Bible or none of that. You know, I noticed that pushed people away. But what I did was I showed him the benefit of turning to God, the benefit of dwelling on positivity, because we had to change our whole lifestyle, our whole way of thinking. So we had to take little steps. And the one step it started with was we had to stop dwelling on negative things. And it's crazy because he called me one day. He said, you know what, Jay? He in Atlanta right now. And he said, man, I'm going to some Adventist churches down here in Atlanta. And I was like, what? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, wow. You know? I'm like, man, that's awesome. And a little shortly after that, he was baptized. But it showed me. It showed me that here, I could have thought negative wise and think, he ain't gonna never change because he ain't, you know, he ain't got Jesus. You know, every time I talk to him, we're not talking about, you know, Jesus. If I'm not talking to him about Jesus, it'll never change. No, come to find out, me still loving him and being a true brother to him and beyond the Bible. I'm talking about beyond the Bible. Whether he came to know God or not, I still let him know, like, look, man, we brothers. This for life, man. Till we both dead in the dirt. I'm here for you. You know, I'm not gonna lose my soul over you. And we both laugh and joke. We both, because he went to prison over me, trying to get me out, and I went to prison trying to get him out. And we both laugh and joke like, man, I ain't never doing time over you again. But the point was, just my friendship and positivity in his life alone was enough to bring him to the word and to the church and to make him for himself sit back and evaluate. A lot of times we don't give people enough credit, but I say it is so deep because I meet so many negative, and you can feel the air in certain churches. Sometimes whole churches have a negative vibe about them where they're not even friends themselves. They're not even friends. That's when everything needs to stop and be like, hey man, let's get to know each other and really become friends. Why are we so negative in the pews? Why? Because of guilt and shame leads many of us to live negative lives. Even though we might teach Jesus and things of that nature, people really don't want to hear it or don't feel it. Why? Because you're still not positive, you know? And so even though Tyrese was just talking about how the movies, TV shows, and he adds to it. I never said he was no angel, but if I gotta be perfect to point out something wrong in the world, then hey, I can't point out nothing. All the dirt I've done in my life and still do from day to day if I'm not careful. So beloved, I know, because that was many other people's reasoning. He a part of the Illuminati, so we can't hear. Trust me, the person who's in the mix and unseen evil firsthand behind the scenes is one of the people you should maybe listen to if he trying to warn you the best way he know how. But beloved, he was talking about how our medias and things like that should just show so much evil and negativity. And so I kept thinking, I couldn't help it. So I look at other Christians who said, that change, positivity ain't gonna do nothing. So I'm like, so if our TVs never showed no violence, never showed no sex, only showed positive, good things, you telling me our society wouldn't be different? I know it would be different. The more evil and things we focus on, the more like those things we become. And that's why that verse says, by beholding, we become changed. So I take it to you to highlight positivity in your life. Make it a point to stay positive. Keep your eyes to the heavens and try to, no matter the situation, try to think on Jesus and what he's done for you and what his love will do for you. Y'all have